Quite a few, okay. I was thinking about this, you know, every year when I do this, and I think this is the 5th year we've done this. Well, let me take a step back. First of all, I'm on the EXPO committee. I've been on the EXPO committee now for almost 10 years. And the EXPO has changed a lot over that 10-year period. Rockford's Community Expo used to be a really interesting event because you have thousands of people come through there, and you could just set up a booth and you get to see whoever you want. And it was really easy. And what we've seen over the last few years is that's changed. People don't understand you have to work a little harder to get value out of those expos. Whether it's the Rockford Expo or an expo downtown or a trade show, whatever it is, there's steps you need to take to get the most out of it. My full-time job is actually as a financial advisor. I head up the wealth management for United Bank. But I have a passion for helping people. And one of the things that I wanted to help people on when I got into the EXPO committee was I didn't see people doing a very effective booth. Now, when I say effective, that doesn't mean you have to spend $5,000 to put up this beautiful booth. But there are steps that you can take to help make it more successful. So let me ask you a question. How many people in this room are in business for themselves? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I want to see everybody's hand. I want to see all the hands on. Okay? Those of you that don't have your hand up, put your hand up. Because we are all in business for ourselves. You don't work for somebody else so you can pay their bills. You work for yourself so you can pay your own bills. Okay? That's an important thing for you to understand because everything you do in life has to be done with passion and purpose. Okay? Whether you're working for somebody else or you know you're working strictly for yourself, do it with passion and purpose. And the reason why I say that is I recently went to the home and remodeling show with my wife. And it was interesting because I looked at it from the perspective of, from this perspective, and said, what are people doing in their booths? And which people attracted me to come into their booths? Now you had people that were obnoxious. There's always a few. That's not effective either. But you also have people sitting back at the back of their booth on their phone. Do you want to talk to them? Even if you do, are you going to stop and talk to them? Probably not. Unless it's something you're really interested in, then you'll stop in there and you'll interrupt them. Because that's what they make you feel like. You just interrupted them. They were sending an important text and you just interrupted them. So what I'm trying to get at here is think about who you are having attend and represent you and your business at the expo. If they are not passionate about being there and what you're doing, it's not going to be successful for you. You can have two people that are very passionate and one that's not. That one person is going to hold you back. So let's get to, and I'm not going to read through this whole thing. This has got a lot of little tips and tricks in there, but I just want to cover some of the highlights. If you have questions along the way, please stop and ask. I don't have all the answers, but if you ask a question, somebody else in the room might have a suggestion for you. Number one thing, how many people have read Stephen Covey's books? Any of them? Few? Okay. What's the number one rule with Stephen Covey? Anybody know? Begin with the end in mind. If you don't know what your purpose is for an expo or a trade show or whatever it is going in, how can you measure success? Is there any way to measure it? There really isn't. You went in, you set up a booth, you talk to a few people, you walk out, you pack up, you go get a drink, you go home. Was it successful? I don't know, we saw a lot of people. You're not in this to see people, you're in this to make more business, right? To create more business for yourself, or your company, or whatever it is. It's not to go spend 6 hours at an expo. It's to create more business or more traffic or whatever it is for you. That's the end goal, or it should be. Now everybody in this room is going to be different. Because we're not all in the same business, we're in different things. Some of us are in service, some of us are in sales, some of us work for nonprofits, some of us work whatever. Whatever your goal is specifically is what's going to determine your success at the end of the day. Is that a fair enough statement? So if you don't clearly lay out, this is the steps that we want to achieve, for us to be successful, you have no way to measure whether you were successful. Okay? So when you are walking out of there, at 3:30 on Saturday, March 17th, to go get your green beer on St. Patrick's Day, you have to be able to say, was this successful for us? And if you can't look at what you have or what you did and say, yep, this was successful, then you're never going to know. You're never going to know. So let me give you a couple of examples. Somebody might be coming out with a brand new newsletter, and they want to communicate with more people. And their newsletter is going to come out in an email. So obviously my goal is to gather as many email addresses as I can to send my newsletter to. So what am I going to do at the expo? I'm going to ask for email addresses. Hey, we're coming out with a brand new newsletter. It's coming out once a month, so you're not going to get inundated with 50 emails every week. And it's about my product and service, and it's just kind of educational. It's not salesy in any way. And oh, by the way, if you sign up today, we're giving away a $50 GoPro camera. Are you interested? Okay. My goal is to get email addresses. I'm not trying to pick up business right now. I'm trying to lay the groundwork so that I can pick these people for business down the road. That's my goal. I use this example. You guys are probably sick of hearing this, but if I had a restaurant, do we have any restaurants in here? Nobody in here. If I had a restaurant, what's my goal as a restaurant at an expo?
Get people in your restaurant.
In my door. I want them to come into the restaurant and spend money, right? So what can I do to get them into my store or my restaurant or whatever it is? There's got to be something that I can hand out to get them in the door. Even if I have to give away a free appetizer or 50% off your first 2 meals, whatever it is, I want to get them in the door. Now, you're giving something away up front, but my goal as a restaurant or as a service provider is to show them what I can do. I'm great at what I do, and the only way you're going to know that is to come and see what I do. So if I can get you into my shop or my office or whatever it is, I always tell people, I do better helping people face to face. I can't do it over the phone, I can't do it through an email. I do better when I can see you face to face. I want people to sit in the chair across from me and have a conversation. It's better for you, it's better for me. I can help you over the internet. I can help you through an email. I can help you over the phone. But you want the best from me, sit across the table from me. It's not because I can sell you better, it's because I can understand, I can read your looks on your face. I can understand your comfort. I can understand your discomfort. I want you across the table from me. That's my goal at the end of the day, is to get somebody across the table from me. Okay? If you have somebody that you bring in and you make them work the expo, they're not going to be effective for you. They're not going to be passionate about your business like you are, unless you can create that passion in them and say, I want you to be passionate, and here's the things I want to talk about today. You have to help them understand this is an important event for us. And I will tell you, anybody that's done other expos or trade shows before, this is probably one of the cheapest you will ever do. The cheapest. I mean, you go downtown to any one of those, you're paying $800,000, whatever, more.
10,000.
10,000 for some of them. They're not cheap. They're not cheap. So the fact that ours is so inexpensive, it's only a couple $100 if we don't do a lot. Don't do it then. If you're not going to put the effort into it, don't do it. I want you to be there. I want everybody to grow their business. That's the whole purpose of the Community Expo, is to connect you with the community. And we've got to get people there. So begin with the end in mind. Know what your goal is when you walk out of there at the end of the day. You should be able to see in your hand or in your mind, we accomplished our goal because we picked up 72 email addresses. Now, is that business? Does that turn into dollars? It's harder to say today. But 6 months from now, it's going to be a different story. Now, if you really want to see if there's success from that, you should already have an email designed ready to go out to those people on Sunday. Thanks for stopping by our booth at the Rockford Community Expo. We really appreciate you stopping by. Here's a sample of our last newsletter that we sent out. And if you contact our office today and stop in, we'll give you a $25 gift card to Speedway, whatever. I'm just making stuff up as I go. That's how you're effective. Now you're going to start to see who comes in and says, oh, you said I'd get a Speedway gift card if I came from the expo. Okay, now I know I just picked up one person from that expo. Now I can track whether that turns into business, and I can also track whether they refer other people over to me. You've got to have an effective way to understand whether these people are coming in. Any questions? Okay. Every year that I'm preparing for this, I go back onto the internet and I do a search. And I do all kinds of Google searches to try and find what are effective ways to do this. What are some of the tips and tricks? They don't change. I have not seen a lot of change out there. There are people's psychology when they're walking through these things is funny because they went to there for a purpose. They went there to learn. Now, some people come for the free stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute. But they went there for a specific purpose. Now, they may not need your service right now, but don't you want them to know who you are so that when they do, they remember you? I did it myself when I was walking around the show downtown. You walk along, you make eye contact, real quick, look down. Don't make eye contact. I don't want to get in a conversation. It's natural. It's human nature. That's the way we are. We don't want to make eye contact because, oh my gosh, I got to talk to you now. You're going to suck me in and you're going to... You, as the person on the other side of the booth, have to be prepared for that. All you have to do is just be pleasant. You can usually strike up a conversation with somebody pretty easy just by asking them a couple of questions. And honestly, have 2 or 3 questions ready to ask so that your staff is not uncomfortable going, oh, I don't know what to say to them. Are you having a good time at the show today? What's the best thing you learned today so far? Questions like that engage people, and that's really what you're trying to do, is engage with them so you can have a conversation. If you can get them to stop in front of your booth, you've engaged them, you've got a conversation you can start up with them, and it'll help you to go to the next step, whatever your purpose is at that point. So we kind of talked about the first 2, begin with the end in mind, setting expectations. I think setting expectations with your staff is really key. Make sure that your staff understands what it is you're trying to accomplish. If you're all alone, keep that in mind as well. I walked by a booth at the show in Grand Rapids at 11:30, I think the doors opened at 10. Nobody in the booth. How much money did you spend to have a booth with nobody in it? Now, maybe they're all alone, and if that's the case, that's unfortunate, because if they have to go to the bathroom or answer a phone call, there's nobody in their booth. So what I would highly suggest that you have 2 people there if you can. And I'm going to touch on this right now because this comes up every year. The show goes from 9 to 3. Everybody says, well, why don't we end it at 2? Because people start to not come to the booth anymore at 2. Well, guess what? If we ended it at 2, guess what time they'd stop coming? 1 o'clock. The shorter you make it, they stop coming an hour before. You can make it an hour long, people come in, they'd be gone in a half an hour. They won't come. So no matter how long the thing is, you're going to have that happen. Some of the best conversations I've had with people is in that last hour. Because things are calming down, things are quiet. Guess who I'm going to talk to that last hour? I'm going to talk to other businesses. What other businesses in that expo can you do business with? Can you connect with? Can you work with that might need your service? Or maybe you need theirs. Don't just think about this as people walking by. It's not people walking by. It's the connections that you can make all the way around. All right, so let me go back to something I touched on before. Free stuff. Who likes free stuff in here? Come on, everybody raise your hand. You know you like free stuff. If you have free stuff out there, people are going to take it.
I don't want to.
What?
I said I don't want a frisbee, but I like chip clips.
Chip clips. You can never go wrong with chip clips. I probably have 13 of them with magnets up on my refrigerator. I shake that back. I have 2 up there. The other 11 are in a cabinet with chips.
Yeah, they're functional. They're functional, I like the functional giveaways, the ones that you can actually use for something.
It's
Like
Do you
you have
know
paper.
how many people's names are on those chip clips? Do you know your names are on your chip clips?
I know some of them.
Some
I
of them?
don't remember all of them.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. They're functional, but are they rememberable?
They're all the big.
I mean, I don't know, I have them at home.
All right, so let's brainstorm for the next 2 minutes. Let's brainstorm functional gifts, functional giveaways,
Letter openers.
letter openers.
And with your business card and your picture on them.
Yep, those are great. Because you put that up on the refrigerator, now your face is up there.
Yep.
Post-it notes.
Post-it
I
notes?
love Post-it notes.
Okay, anybody else
I
like
use
post-it notes?
those.
I like post notes.
Okay,
Can openers,
Pens.
or
Can-
buy them, like glass, jar openers.
jar openers, the rubber ones?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I got a whole drawer that I'm gonna have.
They're functional, aren't
Give them
they?
away.
You don't need 50 of them.
No,
All you need is one or two.
No, I have
Sure,
a
I have
hub
one.
with my name, with our business on there that I can't give away.
I got a mini measuring tape that I carry in my purse now, and it's like the best gift ever because
Okay.
I'm measuring something.
All right?
Oh, you know what I like is the one that cleans your screen.
Yeah.
The little screen cleaner, the little, what do you call it?
Knockers?
Like computer screen.
Glasses cleaners?
Yeah.
I got probably 9 of those and I carry one with me everywhere I go.
Reusable shopping bags, right? Brand new.
Shopping bags are good.
Flashlights.
Flashlights.
I would not note on the shopping bags though, only for the bigger ones, the little narrow ones that only hold books, people just toss those.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
I don't know, but if they're the size of a lunch
Carry
bag,
around the stuff that I get.
if they're the size of a lunch bag, I would take one of those, because sometimes they're too big for lunches. Like,
No.
you want one the size of a lunch bag.
I've seen the lunch bags more and more now. They're
Yeah.
almost as expensive as the big ones, but they're really nice. What else?
Oh, yeah, those drawstrings, like the cinch sacks.
Cinch sacks? Okay. Anybody get any ideas? You still have time to order the stuff and probably get it in, right, Alexa?
Sorry, what?
Can this stuff still be ordered and
Feel what?
can this stuff all be ordered and still get in time for Expo?
I don't do any of this stuff.
That's why
Let's make it treasure.
You know the stuff.
I think, well, we, Lauren and I have a connection, I think probably some things, not everything.
I would think
Depends
most
on
of you could.
if he can get it locally, if he's gotta order it from China, then not so much, but.
Little tiny
Well, and
flashlights are always great.
Yeah, the flashlights are great, especially if they're a little nicer. But here's the thing, do you want to give out a nice flashlight to everybody or just to specific people? You can have, I mean, candy's always good too. Candy's always easy. Candy's the way to suck people into your booth. But the trick I always give people with candy is number one, you got a 10 by 10 space, push the table to the back, you get out to the edge. Get out to the edge and interact with people. If you're back there, you're not welcoming. There's the edge of my space, I'm back here. Yeah, come on in and talk to me. No, we're good. If I'm out here, it's harder for you to walk by without talking to me.
And it's harder for you to use your phone out front,
It is.
because you're gonna be engaged.
Honestly, if you're gonna use your phone, leave your booth.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so bad when you're standing at your booth doing this. Walk away. Even if you walk 3 booths down, do it down there, and then come back.
Comment regarding candy, what we, because we do a lot of expos, don't fill the candy bowl up, because then it's like they can take more because they have lots of it. So if you just kind of keep it minimal to low, they just take 1 or 2 pieces.
Big bowl, half full.
Yep.
If it's full and it's mounded, they'll come up and grab a handful. I've seen people where they spread it out on the table. They'll spread candy and pens out on the table, and I've seen people come up and go. Okay, who's got a coffee mug? I've seen expos where your coffee mug's at the end of the table and somebody will go. It's a used coffee mug, but they still want it. If it's on the table, it's fair game.
The blood draw.
If your phone is on the table, that may disappear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Remote controls, trust me.
Okay? I'm just gonna warn you, if it's on the table, you're saying it's fair
If you
game.
got a rubber stand, take your free stuff away.
Who knows what this is?
Stand there. I got
It's my glasses case. If that's on the table, they don't have any clue what it is, they will take it. They will take it.
I was talking to the blood draw lady last year, we were talking about blood types and all that, and she had a display shirt. If you gave blood, you were gonna get the shirt. Next thing you know, she turned around, the shirt was gone. Somebody just came up and took her shirt, the shirt that she was, like a demo shirt.
She wasn't wearing it, I hope.
No. It was a demo, like if you go get blood, you can have the shirt.
Took it off her body, were they?
Now that is good.
Just as a comment for those who are more in like the service industry, we always give away free consultations. So it's not like a full evaluation or anything like that, but it does at least get people in the door. Plus it's, you know, as a freebie, people like free. So.
And understand, if you give something away for free, one big prize, you're gathering the information that you want. You're gathering the phone number, the name, the email address, whatever it is. If you want email addresses, put that on your slip. Winner will be contacted by email. You put that on there in big bold letters, they will put their email address on there. If you don't, they'll just write their name and phone number. I was gonna say, oh, this is a little trick, and I know some of you heard this, but this works so well. I was talking to somebody down at the Grand Rapids show about this. If you get into a good conversation with somebody, you're having a great conversation, you think it's a warm lead, it could be a hot lead, whatever it is. And let's use the example that there's 3 of us at the booth and we're all independent. We're all trying to pick up our own clients. If I meet with this person, I'm talking to them, we have a good conversation and say, hey, did you know we're giving away a GoPro camera back here? Would you like to get signed up for it? There's no commitment, just do you want to sign up? Sure. There's slips out on the table for anybody to sign, but I've got my own stack of slips back here that have a red dot on the back. Red is for me. I'm going to take those slips and I'm going to walk out there and go, here, fill this out. Okay? They're then going to take that and stick it in the box. Well, number 1, after they leave, I'm going to get that back out of the box because I'm going to put some notes on the back of the conversation that we had. I want to know, is it a warm lead? Is it a hot lead? Is it garbage? But at least I know it's connected to me. The red dot is connected to me. It doesn't have to be connected to you if you've only got 1 or 2 people there. But at least it gives you the opportunity to know that this was a warm lead. Because you're going to have 100 of them in there that are not warm leads. I want to know which ones are the warm leads. Okay? So just a little trick. And you don't have to do it by person. You can just have them back there and just tell your staff. If you get into a good conversation with somebody, grab the ones from back here. Don't make it obvious. If there's a big red X on the back, they're going to know. Just make it real subtle so that they don't know that. You want to know walking out of there who are the warm leads. Because I hope they're going to be contacted next week. I hope. You know what the sad thing is? What percentage of people do you think actually follow up on the leads from the expo? Any guesses?
0. Probably less than 5%.
It's a little higher than that, but not much. It's around 20%. 20% of the people that go to these actually use the names that they have to follow up. That's pretty sad. 20%. So think about that. If there are 5 businesses like yours in there, and you follow up with all of them, guess what? The other 4 businesses like yours, they're not calling. They're not emailing. Want to know the best part? The faster you follow up, the more they're going to remember you. If you wait a week to follow up with them, they may not remember you, but at that point, it's out of their mind.
We track this stuff because I'm a numbers freak like you are. And if you follow up in 24 hours, your chances are hundreds of points higher to close that person than if you wait 48 hours. By 72 hours, you might as well throw them all away.
Yeah.
Don't wait till Wednesday.
I still have a stack from a trade show I did in Lansing, probably, gosh, it's got to be 10, 12 years ago. I never called one of them. But I haven't thrown them away because that's my reminder to never let that happen again. That was so stupid. I spent so much money on that and I didn't call one of them. Because I got back to work on Monday, there was a fire I had to put out, I had to go take care of this, I had to take care of that. I'll get to them tomorrow. How many people have said that? Come on. I'll get to them tomorrow. And then tomorrow rolls around and the day gets busy and then next thing you know, they're collecting dust and now you're almost embarrassed to call them now. Follow up. One of the best, I remember Brad's window cleaning came to one of these sessions and we talked about a couple of ideas. He took the ideas, I'll tell you exactly what he said. I went through this with him and I talked to him. He said, when you're there, take a picture of your booth with your staff. Okay? Then on Monday, I want you to create an email with your picture in there and email every single person that submitted something at your booth and say, thanks for stopping by our booth. We had a lot of fun. If we can be of service to you, here's our information. He sent those out on Sunday afternoon, 24 hours after he got it. He was so stinking busy that year, he couldn't even keep up. The faster you follow up on those, the more opportunity you're going to have for business out there. Those are so vital to following up on. Why do it if you're not going to follow up? Don't waste your time, don't waste your money if you're not going to follow up. Have that email ready to go. If you're going to do it by letter, have that letter ready to go. If you're going to do an email newsletter, have it ready to go. Because if it's not ready, you're not going to get into the office on Monday and spend an hour creating it, because there's going to be 9 other things you have to work on. It's got to be ready to go, or you're not going to do it. All right. So we talked a little bit about setting expectations. Pre-show promotion. How many people invite their own customers and clients to the expo? 3, 4, 5, 6. Why aren't you inviting your customers?
And they're your best ambassadors.
They
They'll
are.
hang around your booth.
They're the best people you could have there. Invite your customers that you have right now, that you've worked with in the past. Hey, you've been a valuable customer of ours. If you stop by our booth at the expo, I got a can opener or a jar opener for you, or whatever. Mention that you got this email, and I'll give you a special prize. You don't have to tell them what it is. Stop by the expo. Stop by the community expo and check out other businesses, but stop by our booth. I got a little gift for you. Now you can track how many of your customers opened and read that email as they came to your booth. You might have constant contact, so you might be able to tell, but at least you, if they stop by your booth, you've invited your own customers to come to it. If everybody did that in the room, that increases the number of potential customers that everybody else gets too. We're all in this together. We're all trying to grow our businesses. So why not invite your own customers there? How many people have Facebook? I'm not raising my hand, I don't have it. I don't have the time. I'd like to hire somebody to do it, but I haven't gotten that point. You can promote yourself on Facebook. You're gonna know about a week or two out what your booth number is. Hey, stop by the Rockford Community Expo on March 17th from 9 to 3 and stop by our booth. We're on the main gym floor in booth number 97. That will get sent out to so many people. We get people from all over the state of Michigan who come to this expo. It's crazy. When we have people sign up for the cash and the trip giveaway, we get people from the Detroit area. We get people close to the UP. We get people down, we had people from Indiana last year. We get people from all over. And I think a lot of that has to do with the promotion and what goes on out there. Everybody's got email. I don't even need to ask that question anymore because most people have 4 or 5 email addresses. Put it in your signature line. Every time you send a reply to an email message, hey, check us out March 17th at the Rockford Community Expo. Stop by 9 to 3 at Rockford Public School, Rockford High School. Promote yourself. You have an opportunity to do it and it doesn't cost you anything. It's very easy to do. We kind of covered most of that. Pre-show promotion is just think about what it is you want to accomplish at the event. Think about what you want to give away. We already talked a little bit about some of that. There's a lot of things you can give away. Who is it? It's the, I can't think, is it Pets Plus? The dog, the pet place comes every year. They used to give away canisters.
Chow.
What is it?
Chow.
Chow Hound. They gave away empty canisters. People would be lined up to get those canisters because when they were gone, they were gone. There was nothing in them. They were just canisters. But people lined up to get them. They were big canisters about this big. I don't know if people were storing dog food in them at home or what, but they were empty. And they would give them all away and they'd be gone in about an hour, hour and a half. But they had a line at their booth. Which reminds me of another thing. How annoying is it for you when the booth next door to you has a huge line and they're blocking your path? Is that annoying? If you think it's annoying, then you're thinking wrong about it. To me, that's an opportunity. I get to fish in their pond. These are all their customers waiting for their stuff, and they're standing in front of my booth with nowhere to go. I'm going to take advantage of every one of them and talk to them about what I do. They're not focused on me, but guess what? They're stuck. They can't move. They're waiting to go to the next line. This happened at I worked at a golf show, National Golf Show down in Florida. If you've ever been to the convention center in Florida, anybody ever been there? Holy cow, that thing goes on forever. If you had a Fitbit on and you walk that entire thing, I forget what it is, it's like...
They had boats in there when I was there.
It's like 9 miles that you'll walk because this thing goes on forever. Okay, so we're at the golf show, and the guy I was with you had clothing, it was waterproof clothing. And side note, I stood under a waterfall with this clothing on. He had a rain thing he created, and it was in his clothing, and then every once in a while I'd come out and I'd take the jacket off and I'd let somebody feel it. The inside was completely dry and the outside was soaking wet. Now he also had one of those spinning wheels, and he gave away the chintziest stuff you could believe. It was really chintzy, but there was a line waiting to spin that silly wheel. And the guy next to us was mad the whole show. These people are blocking my booth. I'm like, you got it wrong, man. You're missing an opportunity. They're standing there. You got a chance to talk to people that can't go anywhere. And you're mad about it. Don't get mad about it. Take advantage of every person that stops in front of your booth. Whether they're talking to you or not, engage them. Even if they don't care about your business, engage them. If you're friendly with them, someday they might need your business. And they might remember, oh, I remember talking to those guys at the expo. They were so nice. You're not trying to get a sale out of them today. You're trying to build that relationship with them. Take advantage of those opportunities. Look at every one of these things as an opportunity. Don't get frustrated. Right? The other thing is people get mad. They're like, oh, it's so slow right now. Go find somebody to talk to. If there's somebody in your booth, go find somebody to talk to. Go to another booth and say, you know what, I've been meaning to talk to so-and-so about whatever. I need my gutters cleaned out, and I know that gutter guy was down here. I'm going to go down there for a few minutes. Maybe he needs your business too. Make sure you don't leave your booth empty. All right. Train your staff. Like I said, give them some points. Give them some things that they can talk to people about. Give them some talking points. What is it that you're trying to promote at the show? Is there one specific thing? Do you have a special running right now? This all tails from begin with the end in mind. Whatever you're trying to accomplish at the end, your leading question should be part of that. Do you know what we do? Let me explain how we're different than other people. That's all you need to do. If you can get people to stop and listen to that, that's what you're trying to do. Teach them about your business. The one thing I always warn people about is watch out for those people that will take up your entire day. You'll get people that'll stop and they will talk your ear off. And a lot of times it's your current customers who really love you, but they have nowhere else to be, so they want to sit and talk to you. Okay, so be prepared. You've got to be prepared to calmly and courteously end that conversation and move on. Because as they're talking to you, you can see people walking by that are looking, that hesitate, and then they keep going because there's nobody to talk to. So you got to be prepared for that as well. There's so many things you got to think about when it comes to that. Just a few talking points is really all your staff needs. They need to be prepared to talk about something specific. And, I mean, I guess this is part of the process, but depending on where the conversation goes, they might have to go a different direction, but you're trying to engage, and those talking points are really designed to get you to engage with that customer, a potential customer. Make sure they're dressed appropriately. Every year, I see somebody at the show and I'm like, oh my word. Do you want them representing your business? Really?
Last year, my daughter helped me, and my daughter is not shaped like me at all. So I had my husband actually send her a text to tell her to hide her boobies. Because I'm like, because I know sometimes she wears like tank tops and stuff, and I'm like, no, let's make sure they're tucked away, please.
Probably not the appropriate show, but I've seen shows where they go the opposite, where they hire 3 young girls and they try to put as low a V-neck on them as they can to try and attract people in. It just depends. It's amazing.
On your type of business.
And know as sexist as that sound, we all know that sex sells. And there's certain opportunities where people think, oh, this is a great opportunity.
So you're saying I should wear a low-cut shirt?
Yes. I want to see you in a low. That commercial where the guy's got the V-neck that's all messed up.
Absolutely, too.
All right.
Go to a
All
car
about
show.
your laundry detergent.
Big old gold chain. I'll do that.
Yes.
Go to a car show.
Car shows? How many car shows have you been to where they've got a girl in a bikini standing next to the car?
You mean my own car show?
Yeah. They all do it.
Yeah. We had 3 of them at Grand Rapids, yeah.
I went to the food and beverage show in Chicago when, I don't know if anybody knows, you know Leinenkugel beer?
Oh, yeah.
Leinenkugel was from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, and Jake and Dick Leinenkugel were on the commercials. When they were bought out by Miller, we went to the beer and wine show that year. And Miller had this huge booth. It was probably at least as big as this room, if not a little bit bigger. And Jake and Dick Leinenkugel were there, and they had all the stuff. And they're only, both of them are only about this tall, you know. Three-piece suits, and we're standing there drinking with them. And they've got these scantily clad girls walking around. I'm like, you got beer here. I don't think you need girls here too. It's beer, and they're giving it away for free. I just remember that. These guys are in three-piece suits, and they got two girls walking around in bikinis. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I think it would be really well to keep in mind that things are changing this year. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Well, I'm not endorsing that you do this. I don't think this is the right environment for anything. No. Most of the people that are coming here, a lot of them are families. So keep that in mind too. A lot of the entertainment up on the stage is all young kids, middle school, high school, and they're all with their parents. You know, if you can attract kids to your booth with a balloon or whatever, guess who's trailing right behind the kids? Mom and dad. So balloon, candy, this is kind of going in a bad way, but not trying to go with it. But if you can give kids stuff that they enjoy, you know mom and dad are standing right behind them. That's who you want to talk to.
That's true. At the RV show, there was these balloons with the rubber bands that
Yeah.
kids around everywhere, and mine went nuts. And we literally went looking for this booth. And
Yeah.
of course, the guy was like, "Here, I do insurance," you know. And I'm like, "You're tricky."
So number one, he's attracting attention with these annoying kids going bang, 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 bang everywhere you go. But number two, you went and sought him out. You never would have gone there, would you?
Nope.
You didn't need
I would
insurance.
have avoided him like the plague.
You're right. But you had to go there because your kids wanted to go.
Indeed.
Is there any rule with helium balloons in the gym?
That's a good question. I don't think there is.
Okay.
Oh, people had them last year. They're always up on the ceiling.
Yeah, they're up on the ceiling.
They'll eventually come down.
I thought we were running out of helium. I thought helium was supposed to be extinct. Wasn't there a story a couple of years ago about helium balloons were going to go away because they were running out of
We
helium?
shipped it to Germany.
What's that?
We shipped it to
We
Germany.
gave it all to Germany. No. You know, whatever you can do, I mean, you may not want kids in your booth because maybe that's not the client you're looking for. I'll just use realtors as an example. We've got a few in the room. You got young families. There's a chance that they're going to be moving at some point. You know, maybe you do want to talk to mom and dad. You just have to think about who your target market is. Who are you trying to attract to your booth? But even then, it doesn't matter. You talk to people and they understand who you are and what you do. They might know somebody they can refer over to you. You just don't know. You really don't know. I'm going to use an example here. Josh Klein is with K&M Dodge, and Josh was in the CNC group that we have here, the networking group. And we try to meet up with somebody regularly and go out to lunch or coffee or whatever, just so we can meet. And we sometimes randomly pick cards. Well, he randomly picked the card of the girl who ran the daycare center, Rainbow Child Care. So here you got a guy who sells commercial trucks for K&M, and a girl who runs the show at Rainbow Child Care.
Preschool teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
As far apart as you can possibly imagine. Guess what? When they got together, her husband owns a landscape company and needed some new trucks. Had they not gone out, they never would have known that. He could have said, I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to go to childcare. I don't need childcare. I don't have any young kids. He would have missed out on the opportunity. There's always an opportunity. There's always an opportunity. But you have to look at it that way. If you go in there with, I'm going to have lunch with somebody, I don't know, that's it. Look for those opportunities. Take the time. Good Lord, go out and have coffee with people. How many people have coffee every day? How many people have breakfast? How many people have lunch every day? Go have it with somebody else. Meet with somebody that you can connect with. That has nothing to do with the show, but we have opportunities to do that every single day. I always say I'd rather have a lunch with somebody else than sit by myself. Plus, if I go to lunch with somebody else, I actually eat lunch. Instead of working right through and then going, oh, it's 3:30, I haven't eaten anything. I see one head nod. All right. We already kind of talked about lead follow-up. 73% is the actual number of trade show leads that are never followed up. We're all guilty of it. I won't make anybody raise their hand. I've already told you my story. We're all guilty of it. Has anybody in the room does anybody in the room have a success story You don't have to give me dollar amounts, you don't have to just give me the general guidelines from the expo or any other trade show,
I'll give you one.
okay?
So last year, we did something different. We're always trying to do something different in our booth. And we are Epson dealers. And Epson came out with products 2 years ago. They're called interactive projection whiteboard systems. We wanted to be able to show those at the expo. And so one of the guys that works for me had this great idea that instead of doing a tutorial on these whiteboards, we set the thing up and we let kids draw like it looked like crayons or lip pens on the board, and that's all we did. So we had kids that the group of people you're talking about. Our booth was full for 6 straight hours, but kids bring parents. Parents have jobs, and in a 6-hour show, we sold $18,000 worth of projection interactive whiteboards to business owners. $3,000 an hour for 6 hours. So,
That's
it
a
was,
decent ROI.
yeah, it is. I wish I could do that today. But the idea was to let kids have the show. And you talk about the last hour, all 3 of the solds happened in the last hour. So people have walked around and wanted to do it, not in front of 20 people. So each of the 3 were business owners, all in Kent County as well. And 3 closed deals.
There's professionals that do these trade shows. Those are people that are looking for free stuff, and you'll know them because they've got a sheet with a clipboard, and they walk up to sign up for something, and they got labels with their name, address, and email address on there, and they slap it on there. They know. Half the time they're pulling a cart to gather all their free stuff, okay? I call them trick-or-treaters. They're looking for anything that's free. They don't care what it is. You know, your kids, when they get home after trick-or-treating, they dump it all on the counter or on the bed or on the floor, and they go, oh, I don't like these, and they send them over here, and then all the other stuff. My kids like to lay it out my candy bar. I actually had one take an itemized list, believe it or not. I don't know where he gets that from. Snickers and Reese's peanut butter. He had them all listed out, and then when he'd eat one, he'd cross it off the list. That poor kid.
It's gotta be a firstborn.
He's actually not, he's the second-born.
Oh.
Mine are switched, my first and second-born are switched for that. But people do that. I imagine they get home after the expo and they take their bag and they dump it on the counter and they take all the paper pamphlets and go, and they go in the recycling. They're like, ooh, chip clip, let's go right up on the refrigerator. That's the kind of stuff that they're doing. I don't care if you give stuff away, just understand there's a cost to that. And just understand that it's a fixed cost. You don't know if you're going to get return on that or not. We have no idea. I have probably 1,000 pens. In fact, I just saw one of your pens this morning when I was pulling something out. We've got a container that's full of pens.
I have a couple of them.
And then we have 700 pencils, and none of them are sharpened. They're all broken down, but the kids don't know how to sharpen them. But there's pencils in there too. So, how many pens do you need? But pens can be an effective way to get your message out there too.
And only put like a handful of them on the table at a time. Because if you put a whole container of them out, people will take 3, 4, or 5 of them, which
Or a handful.
Yeah.
Or a handful.
But if you only have a few out there, then they'll just grab 1 or 2 and they'll walk away.
I don't even put them in a container anymore. I just lay a couple on the table,
That's what I do.
10 or 12, and then when they're gone, I'll throw 10 or 12 more out. If you don't care about giving them away, then put a whole bunch out there. Somebody last year had 3 containers. One had pens, one had like keychains, one had something else, and they were filled to the top. And I said, those are going to disappear fast. And I'm like, well, we don't care. I said, okay. Just as long as you know, because they'll take 1 of each or 3 of each.
Somebody showed up for the booth late last year. They were next to me. I don't remember whose booth it was, but there wasn't anybody there for the first hour and a half. And on their table, the night from Friday night setup, they had left boxes of full-sized candy bars. So when I got there in the morning and there wasn't anybody there, I took the candy bars and I moved them onto the chairs so that they were at least somewhat hidden.
On your chairs.
No, on their, yeah, I should have. I tried to keep a little bit of an eye on it, but obviously I couldn't the whole time. And by the time they got there was a half of one of the boxes, even with me hiding them, was gone. People were still taking them, even though they were on the chair behind the tablecloth. So just note that. They
You have to
don't-
set up Friday night.
Yeah,
unless
don't
you
leave
abs-
shit on the table if you don't want people to take it.
In fact, don't put it up there Friday night because there's security that walks around, there's other vendors that walk around, unless you don't care. I mean, I'm guilty of it too, walking around and saying, that's my favorite candy bar, and I'll go grab one.
Yeah.
And I'm not alone, I see everybody do it. So if you don't want your candy to just appear on Friday night and come in Saturday morning and go, where'd all my candy go? Put it under the table, hide it somewhere.
Or bring it with you Saturday morning.
Any of your giveaways? Okay, so let me go back. There's one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot. Marketing materials. Don't bring in 7 boxes of marketing materials because guess how much you're going to take back to your car? 6 3/4 boxes of marketing materials, okay? Don't do it. Honestly, I think the best approach is to have a little binder back there with the plastic sheets. Stick your marketing materials in there and go, you know what, I want to show you something. I don't know if I have a copy, but let me look. I want you to see this, okay? Come, this is what I want you to see. This is why I think this is important for you. Can I send this to you? I think you would really enjoy this. Sure. Guess what? I just got their email address. That's what I wanted to do anyway. I can find a marketing material in here that every single person can use. I think you'd really enjoy this. Here's a copy of our last newsletter. There's an article in here in 2 newsletters ago that I think you might enjoy. I'm going to go back and find it if you don't mind. Can I write down your name and your email address, and I will email this to you when I get back in the office next week? I can get you to connect it to me. Now you're going to have some people that just say, no, I don't give out my email address. Really? You don't give out your email address? How do you get emails? I actually, my wife and I have 3 email addresses. Personal. Work's a whole other story. We have a junk email. How many people have junk email addresses? Nice. I like it. People are starting to catch on to that. Everywhere you go, they're like, oh, can I get your email address? No. I just give them the junk email. We only check it once a month anyway. Then we have a second level, which is for my father-in-law, who likes to forward every joke to me. For my mother, who likes to send me every stupid article she's ever read and thinks they're all true. But Mom, come on. And then we have our third level, which is all the important stuff. School, whatever, that's where they all go. And sometimes they get intermixed, and after a while we'll probably have to create another one. But I wish there was a way to know, okay, which level of email are you giving me right now? Are you giving me the high end or are you giving me the junk one? So think about that as you're asking for email addresses too. I go back to what I said in the beginning. What is it that you want to accomplish? When the show is all done, and I don't have an answer for anybody in the room because everybody's business is different. Every single person in here is looking for a different purpose. But you have to decide what that is and lay out your game plan of how you're going to approach it. Let me go back to the booth for a second. How many people have a professional sign for their booth? Okay. Eye level, right across the back. Does your sign say what you do for a living? Most people do, but I've seen a few signs where you read it and like, I have no idea what they do. It just says, Smith. That's great, Smith. What do you do? How about Smith Insurance? Give me an idea what you do. Make sure your sign tells what you do. Or make sure it's clear what you do. Because people are going to walk along and they're going to catch your sign, and then they're going to look down right away. Okay? Most of the time they're walking, and they're looking to their right. So keep that in mind. You've got a split second to grab their attention. And the thing that I always like to do is you've got your sign, they're going to see your sign. And then I like to have a little whiteboard or something over here that has a quip or a statistic or whatever it is on that board. Because that will grab their attention when they're looking down. And they'll go, is that true? Or maybe ask them a question. I'm trying to think where it was. I think it's in Big B Coffee down at Cascade. Every day they have a question up on the wall, but they don't give you the answer. You have to go ask them what the answer is or guess what it is. Every time I go in there, I'm like, dang it, I want to know what the answer is, but I don't want to ask them. Those types of things are the things that will get people to stop, because really you're trying to get them to stop. Because once they stop, you can now engage with them. If they don't stop, you missed that opportunity with that person. They're gone, they moved on to the next person. You've got to get them to stop in front of your booth. Here's the crazy thing. You're standing right there. So if they stop, you got a chance to engage them. And there's a reason why they stop, so engage them. I love putting a quote on there or a statistic or something that people, it's so unbelievable when people are like, come on, that's not true. Or, which one of these three is true? And put 3 things on there. Say, one of these is true, and have them all be completely outrageous. And one of them is true. All you're trying to do is get people to stop in your space so you can engage with them. Do you have a question? Comment?
I have a comment.
Okay.
And I was trying to think if anybody in the room is in the same category as me, but I'm B2B, almost purely. I very rarely have anyone who doesn't own a business contact me. And if they do, and I tell them my $50 minimum, they usually go, oh. So, for me, I don't want everybody to stop at my booth because they're wasting my time. I want business owners and people who are, higher up in the company that are decision makers to stop and talk to me. So I don't grab people, because if they're interested, they're gonna stop and talk to me. And honestly, half of them are probably existing customers, people I've done business with, which is actually what I want.
Right.
That is my goal, is a quick, easy way for me to reconnect with my past customers. They stop it, oh my gosh, Alexis, it's been a couple of years, I've been meaning to call you. Boom. It also is, local business owners that have booths even, walking around and they're like, oh, hey, where are you? There's a sign shop in Rockford? Yeah, only for the last 12 years. So they'll stop and they'll start asking me questions, and that's a great way. I mean, that's how I got the Pedersen funeral sign, was being at the expo. That's probably my biggest job I've gotten from it, directly from the expo, that I can pinpoint for the expo. But so everybody's approach is a little bit different. I've tried to do the whole email thing and I failed miserably at it. I prepared one last year and ended up not even sending it out, because when I would do a drawing, I would specifically ask for business cards. I had to allow everybody to enter, so I still had a little pad of paper out where they could put their name and their email address on it and enter into the drawing. And I did literally do a legal drawing where I just pulled it out, and it ended up being just a random person, no business card. And they won the bottle of wine. So, but like you said, everybody's different. We're all gonna have a different goal. So this isn't necessary, especially for the investment. For me, the investment of my day and the dollar amount is worth it for me to have that quick, easy access to reconnect with old clients, and also to maybe meet a few new ones. So it doesn't have to be a big, grand, thing either. It really can just be a little bit more simplistic. So
Sales aren't the only thing you're here for.
Oh, yeah. Create aware, for us, we're a nonprofit, right, North Kent Connect, so for us, it's creating awareness of what we do, and I can't tell you the number of people who stop by our booth and say, you were North Kent Community Services, you helped me out when I really needed it, when I didn't have a job, you were there for me. Talk about you're near tears and they're telling you their story right there, and
Well, and how many other people say, I've been meaning to bring stuff over to you guys?
Yeah, do you take whatever, blah, blah, clothing or whatever, or
Televisions?
I heard you have, televisions, no, we don't take TVs.
They don't take TVs
Or I hear
anymore.
you have a thrift store now, what do you take, or when are you open? Oh, here's our information, or, I've been wanting to volunteer there, I'm retired now, what kind of volunteer opportunities do you have? So for us, we want people to come into our store and shop our thrift store. We want people to donate their clothing or other miscellaneous household goods or whatever to us. And we want to, potential clients, people who may need us for help with rent and utility assistance, senior Meals on Wheels, our tax prep program we're doing now, so we have a lot of audiences at the expo.
We all do.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. We have existing customers that are there. There are people that will comment that they appreciate that the businesses that support our community at the expo. They look at that as supporting our Rockford community when you're there. So it is an important thing. There are people that recognize that, and they appreciate what we do as a community. My alarm went off, so that means my time is up. Does anybody have any final questions or comments?
Maybe a comment. I think frequency is a good thing too. I joined this, replacing Josh, and met a fella here, met him at one of your socials, and then we were at the U-Connect, and he handed me a card and says, I'm looking for a truck. Really? So that's the third time. this has nothing to do with this organization, but the Home Builders Association, I belong to that also, called on a fella. Thank you, there's the door, got your card. I'm in the Home Builders booth. He saw me from probably across the hall, came up to me, handed me his card and said, I need a quote on 2 box trucks. So again, familiarity, maybe being part of the organization, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Same thing in Lansing, Hope Nursery Landscapers. Saw the guy here at a couple shows, I'm in Lansing. He says, I need 2 plow trucks. Well, it's, again, I think just being there. And then maybe the ultimate is in giveaways. We have a $35,000 giveaway that Chrysler promotes for commercial trucks. And we would sit there and say, well, gee whiz, would you like to sign up? Because on the sheet would be their name, the email, or a phone number, or frequency, are you looking for something? And they would walk by and say, gee, sign up for $35,000. No. I got so many people do that. Finally, I said, oh, wait a minute. I said, 35,000, how about 50,000? The guy would look, I said, aha, I got your number. And again, that engaged me a little bit. And then they'd come back and say, well, I don't want to sign this. You're going to call me. I said, no, look at the bottom 3 dots. Now, on bottom 3, it just says, don't call me, don't email me, that kind of thing. So I just brought it up a notch, and I said, take a look. I said, this is don't call me, don't look at me, and don't touch me. And he looked at me, don't touch me, and he'd be writing down.
We might have to add that on to all the.
Well, I'm just saying, but
so.
what you're saying is engage them a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And then the other thing I got sick and tired of this too, because I came from the medical business, so they wanted me to come in with my product. But here, they would walk by, and walk on by, and they'd say, oh, we'll be back. How many people have had that, we'll be back?
We'll stop back.
Yeah, we'll stop back. I said, well, wait a minute. I said, here, right here, I've got a Be Back book. Would you sign my Be Back book for me? They look at you like this. I said, are you going to be back?
What you're doing, though, is really what you need to do. It's a little bit of sarcasm.
Well, yeah.
You break the tension.
I'm old, so I got both Social Security and income.
Everybody there is a nice person.
Yeah.
But when they walk into a show or they think they're going to be sold something, oh
Right.
my gosh, the arms are full.
Right.
Nope, I'm not talking. If you can engage them by being a little funny or sarcastic, or just get them talking.
Right.
Because they'll have a great conversation with you, and then guess what? As soon as they leave your booth, they're right back to this again.
Exactly.
It's crazy to
But
watch
they
people
come up
do
with
that.
this stuff. They'll say, hey, $35,000. Ken, we got $15.99 for a minivan. He goes, I can buy 2 minivans, one for me. So he's already engaged.
Right.
Yeah, so you're right. But
Have fun.
you have to have fun with it, otherwise.
You're trying to grow your business, you're trying to grow awareness, whatever it is, but have fun.
Right.
If you walk in there miserable, you're not going to have a good day, and you're not going to walk out of there with any business. You're going to walk out of there and go, this is a big waste of my time. Don't waste your time. You're putting too much time and effort into this. You're paying to be there. This is an inexpensive show to do.
Yeah, you should be tired at the end of that day.
You will be.
Because if you do it right, you should leave there going, wow, just whipped.
Yep.
Because you're putting forth everything you got at that show, and I highly recommend having somebody with you, because I can't tell you the number of times I've had a crowd of people, and I'm like, and I usually have a board member with me.
Okay.
Or maybe another staff member, but usually a board member. They sign up for 1 hour spots. And I'm really glad I have another person there with me, because sometimes you get a group and someone wants to talk to them or me or whatever, or they know John Decker, or who doesn't know John Decker? So they all, so it's just a really good, it's a great day.
Yep.
Is there anybody here who has not done this show before?
I haven't.
Wow.
Wear comfortable shoes, your feet will
I got a better
be
hint for you. Get a rubber mat and put it down in the front of your booth where you're going to stand. A 1-inch rubber mat will save your back and legs so much.
Wow.
In about an hour and a half, the back of your legs are going to hurt so bad. I have caught myself walking away and going and stretching my legs. It hurt so bad.
I always end up stretching.
Even with gym shoes on. If you can get a rubber mat to stand on out there, if you get a really nice rubber mat, you can invite people in and say, hey, come stand on my mat. Your legs hurt? Come stand on my mat for a minute. They feel, oh,
What's
this
the
is
temperature
great.
like in there? I've been in previous ones where it's just hot.
It's
Comfortable.
It's not hot.
Okay.
It's not gonna be hot.
Like I would go wearing like a sweater or whatever.
I wear like this, and I'm fine, long sleeve, yeah, no, I don't think it's
Does
Does the chamber have like a photo or video record of past events to kind of warm us up to what the environment's like?
We
Is that
have
enough?
photos, I think there's a couple videos.
I'm working on videos.
Okay, are they like on the Facebook site or on the website?
We post photos on the Facebook, on the, yeah, Facebook page.
So I can go back a year and
Yeah.
some old stuff. Good.
Why don't you
Thanks.
send your background?
For what?
For signing.
Oh, we need to do a signage
That
sheet.
tax prepared would have worked with her.
Oh, see, I forgot to do that. I used to send out an email to all the people that attended this on Sunday after the expo to say, how'd it go, and are you prepared to follow up? It's just a little jab in the gut to say, did you do what you were supposed to do, or are you gonna let these go to waste? I didn't send it around, I apologize, so. I can jab you if you want anyway, just give me your card, I'll call you. Alright, well, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for coming in. If you've got more questions, don't hesitate to ask. Call the chamber office or do a Google search.